Yes. Just looking at this Constitution, yeah. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government, yeah. hmm And shall protect each of them against invasion, yeah. And on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence, yeah. See, when you don't practice law as a judge, yeah, you're committing domestic violence because it's not the practice of law. Now, I would say that the president has an obligation to preserve the Constitution because of his oath. Yes. And this idea that we're going to just buy whatever we want or whomever we want, yes. And you're not going to execute court orders as they're ordered, right. That is not the practice of law. Pooh. Now, since it's not the practice of law, yeah, it's domestic violence. Pooh. Now, as much as you thought, well, we have to do this. You can never use a forgery on any court document. No. That means the petitioner's signatures can never be a forgery. Yes. You can't have a lookalikes, Homeland Security. Yes. You can't arbitrarily decide to take somebody's kids. Yep. And you can't issue dissolutions of marriage. It is not the practice of law. You can't say somebody's crazy. We can't find him. We don't have proof of service. We can't say that he has to have a mental health evaluation without jurisdiction of law. You can't say somebody's a criminal when their record's expunged. Yes. You cannot arbitrarily make up bullshit crimes just because you don't like somebody. You can't decide that you're just not going to practice the law. Now, I have a guarantee in the Constitution, yes, that when the federal government and the state governments refuse to enforce the laws of the United States because certain judges and police departments and sheriffs decided, well, we do not have to enforce the requirements of law. Yeah, we do not have to do that. You have committed domestic violence against the United States of America. The president has an obligation to preserve the Constitution. He has to protect it and he has to defend it. And any knowledge that he has of it not being preserved, protected, and defended, he himself can be personally liable for your decision making. That means that I'd investigate him. I'd find out how much money he spent. I'd find out if his wife spent any money. This idea of being elected to office while being married, let's just say that you have to support your family on the annual income of the presidency. Now, of course, he gets some travel paid for, yes. And he gets some allowances for office space, staff, and mailing expenses, yes. But widowed spouses of former presidents may receive an annual pension of $20,000, yes. Now, as much as you thought, yes, that this retirement amount of $210,000, $700,000 a year, I would say that every president that's alive right now, Jimmy Carter, yes, George W. Bush, Barack Hussein Obama, oh, William, oh, excuse me, each and every one of you receive the basics pension. Yes. Hillary, you were married to Bill when he was the president, and you've been getting a pension ever since he was president. Now, the oath of office of the actual office of the president, yes, means that I can sue you for not keeping your oath during the whole time that you're alive because you've been getting paid $210,700 a year. Now, for all the presidents that have sat in the White House that happen to be alive, yes, and their spouses, poop, you might remember that when you did get elected to president and you decided you weren't going to do what you had sworn, I can sue you for receiving a retirement income from the presidency of the United States. Now, we have what is known as domestic violence. Yes. This, remember that, fools? Yes, is domestic violence. Right. I wasn't in Sequim, Washington on December 31st of 2015 at 7:47 a.m. Yes. I've been emailing you 2.5 million emails. Oops. And nobody wanted to enforce the laws. And then somebody decided, well, we'll just commit domestic violence against the United States of America. And every oath of office in the White House decided they just didn't want to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. Now, when I know I wasn't there, right, because I'm sure I was sleeping at the Serenity House, I was on the bus that morning, yes, and I was in this library from 10 to 5, and I have the emails to prove that. It was New Year's Eve 2015, yes. Instead of admitting the evidence that I wasn't there, you decided to try me. Now, when police departments, yes, decide to commit domestic violence, I would say the president himself is liable, as well as his wife, and I think they are married. Yes. So Melania has had some difficulty living within the confines of the annual salary of the presidency, knowing that her spending habits before becoming the first lady, yes, probably did involve buying various items at $10,000 each item. Yes. At only $35,000 a year, that's $420,000. Yeah, $35,000 a month. I would sue the White House for, well, violating the solemn oath. Ooh. Now, Mr. Commander in Chief might want to speak to his spouse about exactly the amount of money she's been spending and what bank accounts that she's been using. I'm sure she has a nice credit card. But if the credit card payments are not being paid out of the annual salary of the presidency, yeah, you might need to put some items back in. Did you save your receipts? Because I'll tell you right now, I would sue the president and his wife for using any funds while in the presidency. Now, you might want to speak to the first lady. You might ask her, Melania, did you go out and spend X number of dollars using a credit card? Yes. And then you paid for it out of a bank account that didn't happen to receive the annual income. Because I'll tell you, okay, I think it's time for you to go back to all those little boutiques, okay? Take back all the dresses, okay? Okay, okay.